All right, college football addiction. I've got Jay from the prime time from college football on. Jay, we are just about 24 hours from kickoff for Colorado this year, and it has very much been talking season, but talking season turns to playing season really quick. And Coach Prime and the team have been the focus of a lot of negative attention recently, I feel like, no matter how the media or fans of different teams try to spin things. But people are looking for them to fail, and I think they want them to fail more so than they even did last year. But how important is it for Colorado to get off to a good start because of all that this year?
It's going to be critical, right? What Colorado needs to do is go out there and, in a way, exert dominance. Now, I know that one thing that we heard from Coach Prime, as well as, players and stuff, they're not taking this team lightly. They're not playing around or trifling when it comes to North Dakota State. They know that they're a legitimate challenge. They're one of the top FCS schools, and they've been that. And they've upset a lot of FBS schools over the last, 15 years. So they're known for being a spoiler. So what Prime and them want to do is go out there and win, of course. But at the same time, they want to show that they can take out teams like this as a 10-point favorite. They want to be able to show that they can push themselves to outdo them while also showing off a new type of offense with Pat Shermer out there on the running the plays.
You mentioned North Dakota State, not necessarily an easy week one opponent by any means, but an opponent they should beat. ESPN says they have a 71.3% chance to win. Our friends over at BetUS have it at minus 350 without doing a full betting breakdown just yet. That's about a 77, 78% chance in probability to win. Quick thoughts on just taking care of business.
Yeah, the key thing is what's the offense going to look like, and with Shador, it's about him running the O. The other key thing is what is this offensive line going to do for them, right? Shador was one of the top quarterbacks sacked last season, and what's going to have to happen is Colorado's going to show that they can block, right? North Dakota State's not coming in with little dudes. They're actually coming in with some guys with some nice size and some defenders that are pretty solid. And so for Colorado, showing off his offensive line's capabilities of keeping Shador upright and then him taking time and taking care of the ball, keeping the low turnovers that he's infamous for, which is really good. He doesn't turn the ball off very often. That's going to be key. The other piece is Pat Shermer coming in here. How much running is he going to do in this for this team, right? We know that Sean Lewis did not do a lot, and he had the very high up-tempo offense. Well, Shermer's going to slow that bad boy down. How much is the run going to be effective in this game? Because I think that's, to me personally, the most important part of winning this game against North Dakota State.
Yeah, and in running the ball, and you mentioned this, is the offensive line going to give them enough time? Talk to me about that offensive line. Do you think they did enough? Do you think that they will be ready for an opponent that is very respected at their level, but an opponent that they should, a Power 4 team should be better than a North Dakota State in the trenches. Are you confident there? Are you in wait-and-see mode there? What are your thoughts on that offensive line?
I'm still in kind of a wait-and-see mode. Now, we know that Colorado brought in about like 9 new offensive linemen, right? And of course, the 5-star one, Jordan Seaton. So for them, the key is going to be execution. They've got to execute on the line, and they've got to get those blocks in. And so I actually think that the line is going to be a lot better than it was last year. Phil Loadholt, the new offensive line coach, he came from Oklahoma, played ball at Oklahoma and in the NFL, has an understanding of what a offensive line needs to look like to be successful. Again, he played at Oklahoma, a school that's known for putting offensive linemen into the NFL. Heck, the highest paid center is from Oklahoma, and one of the highest paid tackles and guards are from Oklahoma as well. So he knows what needs to be done in order to be successful there. And so the anticipation is this line should be able to produce at a much higher level than last year. If anything, if you can cut the sacks down in half from last year, you're successful.
Yeah, I also wonder how they'll look running the ball, what the run blocking will look like. Again, not something they did a ton last year. But
yeah, right.
Can they just, if you're so one-dimensional, you make it easy for those guys on the defense to just pin their ears back and go. And if you can run and give them a brief moment of pause because you're running draws or running dump-offs or whatever the situation is, maybe it slows that pass rush down just a little bit. Jay, I'll get right back to it, but first I do want to give some love to our friends over at BetUS. BetUS The absolute best place that you could be betting this year. They've got the line set right now, which we talked about, mentioned just briefly, 9.5, 10 points. I think it's 9.5 right now on BetUS's site. You can go there and bet with our link in the description. You get a 125% deposit bonus up to $2,000 on your first 3 deposits. Their customer service is great. They've got some of the best lines in the game. Their mobile website as well as regular website are incredibly easy to use. So check them out today. BetUS. Appreciate them for their support. All right, Jay, we mentioned those running backs. We mentioned the weapons. Do you think they did enough in the running back room? That's a completely rebuilt room to be able to lead on the run more, or are you kind of in wait-and-see mode there, or do you really have some faith in those guys?
Yeah, there's still a lot of questions when it comes to the running back room, right? You got Dalen Hayden that came in from Ohio State. Now, I think that he's probably the biggest pickup. I mean, Charlie Offerdahl is still there from the last few years. Walk on that just earned a scholarship, which was really cool and heartwarming for everybody. But bringing in Dalen Hayden, I think adding him to this fold is going to be huge for them because his freshman year at Ohio State, running with C.J. Stroud as his starting quarterback, he put up over 500 yards in the season. And so the anticipation is he can get back to that form. Last year, he didn't play a lot, but he's one of those players that's built to be an every down back. And so I think they did enough, right? You got Isaiah Gustav that came from Arkansas as well. Then Michael Welch, which was one of the young boys, as well as Brandon Hood, who had walked on at UGA because he had a knee injury in high school. Now he's at Colorado with his brother, Colton Hood, who played at Auburn. I think the room is settled enough to be good for this coming year.
All right, what about the other side of the ball, Jay? What kind of improvements do you think we'll see defensively? I thought down the stretch last year they played a little bit better defensively. Now they got to play some teams that were banged up. They were banged up themselves. But what about defensively? Do you think they've done enough there? Do you think we'll see improvement there? I know new DC. What are your thoughts on that side of the ball?
Yeah, I think Robert Livingston has a nice set of weapons there on the defensive side of the ball, right? You know, the defensive line has gotten better, in my personal opinion. I like that the linebacker room is pretty much experienced and a few veterans in that area. But that secondary, man, the secondary is what got me, right? Getting DJ McKinney from Oklahoma State, adding in a Preston Hodge. Then you got, of course, Shiloh and Travis Hunter. He's going to be playing both sides of the ball in a way. I think the secondary is really going to stand out the most next year, and I think that's what's going to really carry them in the linebacker room. The defensive line should be able to get enough pressure, right? Getting those two guys from Pitt with Okalola as well as Hayes, I think that they'll be able to get in there and really cause problems. But I think that secondary and linebacker room is going to be the foundation of what happens at Colorado, and that's the one spot I think that Colorado fans should be really excited to see.
You mentioned him, and he might be the most exciting player in college football, but Travis Hunter this year, we saw him absolutely go out there and kill himself against TCU and then in some of the following games. I'd imagine his reps are split up a little bit differently this year. I don't know that he's going to go out there and play 115 in a game, which is maybe one of the most impressive things we've ever seen in college football. And to play that TCU game at the level that he did is just ridiculous. Kid that wants to be on the field, kid that wants to play every snap, kid that's got that dog in him. How do you see it? Do you have a percentage in mind of how his reps are split up? More offense, more defense, pretty split? Do you think he plays more on one side of the ball or less somewhere else? What are your thoughts there?
Now, see, this is my personal opinion, and just remember, this is just my thought. I'm feeling a 75-25 split on offense to defense, right? I think he'll be way more effective on the offensive side of the ball, but the good thing is they've got a lot of wide receivers. Like, there's a lot of wide receivers there at Colorado that's going to be really good. So you technically could move him a lot more towards defense, let him do that. But I'd rather him to avoid getting hit rather than going to hit people, just because you want to make sure that his body holds up for a full season. 100+ snaps a game, man, that wear and tear gets you, especially when you get later in the season. And if Colorado does have conference championship aspirations, you're going to want to have to limit some of that. You got to protect Travis from himself. Right? That's kind of the thing you got to think about. So to me, a 75-25 split's going to be good. I think he'll put up a lot of offensive numbers. I think you put him in some of the key defensive plays. But for the most part, yeah, I wouldn't have him in there in every down back to go stop, tackling the running back on a regular basis. You're going to need him to be out there being able to make catches across the middle against linebackers and safeties. So to me, 75-25 is probably the safest split you can have. Now, they're probably going to do more Probably a very good chance they do more. But to me, 75-25 is a good ratio.
Yeah, it's almost like if you could, obviously anytime he's out there on defense, he's taking away the other team's best receiver, but then anytime that he's out there on offense, he's probably taking away the other team's best defender. And so, maybe some of his offensive stuff could be pretty decoyish where he is in there taking away a really good corner. If he's on the field, you want to go to him, right? And that's kind of the what's tough is, you got Kobe Bryant in the corner, you're not going to kick the ball out, but I do think that if you kind of said like, hey, you're option 3 on this play, like, we're using you to take you away to be able to pass. I mean, MJ didn't hit the game winner in the finals every time, right? Like Kerr hit one. So if we can take you the best defender and put him on you, then what's that do for other guys? And so maybe they can decoy him a little bit to where he's not got to go take as many hits on offense, but he's out there contributing because he is limiting what the other team can do on the other side of the ball. I don't know. I'm certainly not smart enough to figure this out, but that's what I might do in a video game if I was playing. So
right, if he's a threat, he's a threat regardless. So no matter where he's at on the field, he's going to be a threat, and people are going to pay attention to him. So yeah, I say defensively, put him out there 3rd and long, let him go up against the top wide receiver, and let him try to put the clamps on him. Right? Let's see if he's a Deion Sanders clone. Right? Let's see if he's better than Deion Sanders was at that age. Let him have that opportunity. But you don't really need him out there in 1st and 10 when you know they're going to run the ball directly at his direction. I mean, what's the point, right? It means he's going to go out there and go hit somebody.
Yeah. Avoid those.
Exactly.
This North Dakota State game specifically, what do they do that worries you the most? What is it about them that maybe has you the most concerned about this game on Thursday night?
I think the thing to think about it too is that they're returning a quarterback that's been there with 38 straight starts, right? Well, 33 starts in his career. And so for Colorado, it's about containing Cam Miller. He 72% completion percentage, 2,600 yards, and he runs the ball. He ran for 600 yards last season. So again, if you think about having a Travis Hunter out there on defense, he's going to have to tackle this big old quarterback too, right? And they're known for being a very tough and physical team. They've put 3 quarterbacks in the NFL. You got Carson Wentz and you got Trey Lance. Now, I don't care what your opinion is on both of them, but they made it to the NFL and they got drafted pretty high. So they don't put out just slouches when it comes to quarterback. They put out guys that even NFL franchise look at and say, you know what? I should consider this dude. But they are a physical team. They're very tough. So for Colorado, it's all about making sure that you can break some of the discipline with them. They're infamous for being a very disciplined team. And if you can go out there and break some of the tendencies, break some of the, I guess you could say, habits or routine, that's the best word for it, break some of their routines out there, you have a really good chance of really breaking this thing open. But they're not going to go away easily. It's not a team to be trifled with. It's not one that you to sleep on. And I know that Coach Prime takes that seriously. I mean, he joked with the AD saying, why you got to give me such a tough game on the first one? Why couldn't you just give me a cupcake? And that's a fair statement by him, but at the same time, it's understood. Got to sharpen yourself. Iron sharpens iron, and going into this new conference, it'll probably be a good thing for them going forward.
Where can Colorado, other side of it, where can Colorado take advantage of this team? If quarterback, if weapons, like that side of the ball is maybe a concern, where can Colorado kind of have their advantages and maybe shut them down, maybe limit them, maybe kind of get to that 10-point plus lead and end up cruising away to the victory here?
Yeah, with the wide receiver room and the talent that they have with Shedeur Sanders, there's really no excuse for them not to go out there and just throw it all over the place. Now, Pat Shurmur does run a more slowed down offense, so they won't be seeing all of the traditional go that they're used to. But the good thing for Colorado is that I think a slowed down offense will allow them to give Shedeur time to throw the ball, and it'll eliminate them getting sacked often. I mean, tempo exhausts you, right? And it's no shade to Sean Lewis. He was very successful with this tempo. I mean, if you all remember when he was at Kent State, they gave Georgia hell just because they were running tempo nonstop. But the difference here, though, with North Dakota State is that they have a very good set of linebackers. The defensive line is improved, I'd say. Their DBs are returning, right? So passing game is going to be where Colorado's going to have to get creative. But if they can run the ball down their throat too, that mix and match should be able to leverage the play action and be able to go over the top on them every once in a while. I just think that the wide receiver room here at Colorado is exceptional, probably top 3 in the country, if not number 1. They've got so much talent. I mean, I did the calculations. They're returning 3,800 yards in production, and that includes their 2 transfers in LeJontay Wester as well as Will Shepard. They're bringing in, they brought in some talent. Then, of course, Jimmy Horn's still floating around. Marion Miller, who's still young. They've even got a young Miller, Daron Miller, another young wide receiver that's been showing out in camp. So that room is huge. So Shedeur has nothing but weapons. You've added running backs. You've added skills guys. All they got to do now is execute, block, and execute on that. But on the defensive side of the ball, as long as they don't let Cam Miller just run all over them, scramble too much, they should be able to hold them down as far as points go.
Do you have a score prediction for this one?
Yeah, I'm going to simplify it. I think it's going to be 40-25 Colorado. I see that they do go over the over-under number, which is 61 right now. I think that they go over. I think that Shermer, even though Shermer slows things down, I think they do enough to go out there and really put some points up.
A 40 burger. You heard it here first. So, Jay, where can people follow you? Where can they find more of your work? When they can get more of your Colorado content?
Yeah, check me out, Primetime for College Football here on YouTube. Check it out. You know, we always dropping some content, latest news updates, and the latest, whispers around Coach Prime. TJ,
Awesome.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Hopefully we'll be doing a post-game show, a fun one. Well, I guess you'll do a post-game show either way, but hopefully we're doing a more fun post-game show than how we ended the year last year. But, man, I appreciate you a ton, and we'll see you soon. Go Buffs.
Go Buffs.